final, Chicago 31, Green Bay 27. Afterwards, in a game that they trailed by 21-3 at the half, our Kimberly Martin caught up with DJ Moore, who caught the winner.
Always crazy nail biters like this.
Oh my gosh, because we never give up, they never give up, and it all goes down in the last 2 minutes of the game, and somehow we always find a way. He was right on track, never wavered. He was dialed in and ready to go. When it's, the lights shine bright, he's the brightest one, so he gonna get us there.
I mean, where do we begin? Well, if we begin at halftime, the game was over.
Yeah.
It was almost 24-3. What is it about these Chicago Bears? This is year 2. Caleb, we understand Ben Johnson, first-year coach to the number 2 seed. They're going to have another home game. This looked like too high a mountain to climb, yet they did it.
No doubt, Boom. And I think the game was won and lost at the beginning of the second half. Packers have a huge lead. Packers get ball to start second half. They punted the ball 4 straight possessions. Where was the offense from Matt LaFleur? He's going to have to answer for that. This high-powered offense in the first half just went away, and that allowed the Bears to come back. The Bears got more aggressive. Caleb Williams pushing the football down the field. And in an era where every team is looking for a number 1 receiver, the Bears have one. He's just called a tight end. Colston Loveland, the rookie, was absolutely outstanding. Boom. 8 catches, 137 yards. He was unreal. 17 yards a catch from a tight end. They had no answer for the tight end, Caleb Williams and Colston Loveland. That connection, especially in the second half, was outstanding.
Well, and neither team ran the ball. I mean, now I'm getting deeper into the game. Neither team ran it the way we thought, or they kind of expected to run it, especially if you remember how the Packers gave up all the rushing yards to the Baltimore Ravens and Henry. I understand that. But yet, here they are gambling on all the 4th downs, and at one point they were 1 for 5 through like late third quarter. Yet there's no cue in quit. They have it. That's what the Chicago Bears have done 5 times, fourth quarter comebacks to win games.
Well, and you would love for this team to start playing, to your point, in the first half. It's almost as if they get backed into a corner and they say, you know what, there's nowhere else to go. And then the coaching staff becomes more aggressive. The play caller becomes more aggressive. Caleb Williams starts to become more aggressive. And make no mistake about it, Ben Johnson wants to run the football with Monangai and Swift. The Packers shut the run down, and they put it all on Caleb Williams, Boom. And the throw he made on 4th down, he rolled to his left and threw it over the shoulder to the tight end. There's only 2 players in football that can make that play, only 2. Patrick Mahomes and Caleb Williams, because only those 2 have the arm strength and the horsepower and the body control to make that throw. He's a special player. He's not a finished product, but he is a very, very special player. And what he did in the second half in a playoff game at Soldier Field is going to go down in playoff lore for the Bears.
Against the Green Bay Packers, who have owned them.
Yes.
I mean, we know what it was with, well, it's not a rivalry until we start keeping our part. Well, the Chicago Bears have done it twice at Soldier Field to the Green Bay Packers. By the way, that throw, even if as I was doing the highlight, I thought I hurt my shoulder just watching that. Look, the Packers, because they were so under control offensively. Love looked so good in the pocket. Chicago really got no pass rush. They just knew, but they didn't. Where was it? They really just needed, who knew they needed a touchdown or 10 points, but where was it? And where was the urgency?
When you're up 21-6 in the fourth quarter, you're supposed to be to put the game away. They got Josh Jacobs. They couldn't run the football.
I know.
And when you have a lead and you can't run the football, here's what you're doing. You're giving the other team more possessions, because if they continue to get you out on 3rd down, there's no time going off the clock. With incomplete passes, there's no time off the clock. And so they can't run the ball. That continued to happen. They gave Chicago more opportunities. And Caleb Williams got in the rhythm. And once the door opened and the chickens came out the coop, boom, there was no putting them back in. They were running wild in there. I think if you're Matt LaFleur, they're going to have to answer for the second half. They did an outstanding job of building the lead, but there's no way you can have an offense that goes punt, 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 punt to start the second half. Where's the run game? They averaged 0.9 yards a play in the first 4 drives.
And there you go.
That was the ball game.
0.9 yards?
0.9 yards
That's
a play.
That's an equipment man tripping over a trunk.
Exactly.
0.9 yards, okay?
0.9 yards.
That's hard to do.
That's very hard.
After they had their way. We had game balls, everything. And he stands so upright, Jordan Love, and each receiver making catches.
Everybody,
I know Dobbs had the biggest game. It's not like they that's why they play 60 minutes. I mean, this is a rough, short ride back up the road to Wisconsin.
This is one of those games in an era where we've had 7 coaching changes already. Matt LaFleur and his staff is going to have to answer for this one because he's been given a lot. And I get it. Michael Parsons got hurt this year. I truly understand that. But when you put your team in that position and you've been given the resources, the quarterback and all those things, there's going to be some changes in. I'm not saying the head coach is gone, but there's got to be some changes in Green Bay with how they run their program. They got too many good players. They got too many good guys on defense, too many good guys on offense. They got a lead running back in Josh Jacobs for them to go cold in the second half, having a 21-6 lead.
So for the Chicago Bears, who a long time ago started 0-2.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's just 2 games, but summer didn't go well. Okay, this is going to take a while. This has been one of the most cardiac seasons ever authored, not only certainly by the Bears, but by any team. And it's Chicago. And we have the most storied 213 games, okay?
Yeah.
They caught up one. Now it's 109-98 and 6 in favor of Green Bay if you're scoring at home. So the Bears will have yet another home game in the playoffs. We don't know who that's going to be yet. Obviously, NFC, another game tomorrow with San Francisco and Philadelphia. And they're 2 games away from the Super Bowl, and they're doing it all. Nobody has any fingernails left in Chicago.
No, they can't. They bite them all off in the fourth quarter.
The Rams win it 34-31. Going on, well, they're going to be on the road. They're happy to be going on. And the game-winning drive, Matthew Stafford said, this is what we did.
That's what you work for, right? Like you do all these hours in your life of, a kid in the backyard throwing the ball around saying, okay, this is the situation, we got to make it happen. And then get to do it throughout my football career. And an opportunity like tonight, I walked behind Tay on the way out. For that last drive, I forget what I said to him, but I was like, let's go snatch these guys. Let's go snatch this one back, man. Let's go. And, he was an integral part to that drive. Pook was, Colby or Bax, everybody. So, I don't know. I love those situations. I live to do it. It's great to do it on the road, too. Quite a nice crowd today, so we'll take it.
Yeah, I think he said, let's go snatch these guys' hearts. And that was pretty cold. That was pretty cold. Just that, and I actually literally smiled at the moment because I thought that was one of the most gangster things you could say in that moment, honestly. And to say that and the look on his face and then throw the touchdown and then the look on his face after that was just envy.
There's such a mix of emotions in the locker room right now of guys who are proud of what we've accomplished and proud of what we've gotten to and sick about the missed opportunity that was right in front of us. And that's going to sting. That's going to sting for a good while. But I ask the guys to keep their heads up and let this fuel you for what we're going into and to understand how hard it is to work to get into this position where you get this kind of opportunity.
Well, they had an opportunity, even though the game started Matthew Stafford 8 for 8. They had a 14-0 lead. You saw it. Then all of a sudden, 4 of 19. What is the matter? Then you saw the fourth quarter, 12 of 15, 2 touchdowns, including the game winner. And you heard Devontae and you heard Matthew Stafford go, I live for these moments. And so the Rams, I don't know what they thought going in, although they lost here before, and they don't take any team for granted. But when they needed it the most, all of a sudden, there it was.
You saw the full Rams season in one game. We think the Rams are the best team in football, but we haven't seen them play a full game in a while. You saw them come out, start early, it's 14-0, and then there's a lull in there. And you're like, okay, well, how come they can't go ahead and finish this team? But when their backs were against the wall and they had to make play after play, you saw Matthew Stafford, you saw Puka Nacua, you saw Devontae Adams, and the defense all step up and make plays. But this is something we're waiting on them to put a 60-minute game together. Offensively, boom, there's nothing that they can't do. They can run the football with Corum and Williams. They got two of the top 15 receivers in football. The quarterback is most likely going to win the MVP. They can score against anybody, but it's the law when you start seeing the inconsistency. And you saw that today. And they had a team that was 8-9 that had to lead on them late in the fourth quarter when we all were like, is Carolina really going to beat them? It's because of the inconsistencies and the ups and downs of the Rams.
Well, if you look at the Rams' last 4 weeks, and again, I mean, here they are. They're moving forward. They're going to do it on the road.
Yeah.
But until that fourth quarter at Seattle, which is only, a few weeks ago,
No
they were
question.
way in charge. All right, they lost that game. They're not the first to lose a game, and Seattle's the number 1 seed. Then I know their head was down. What do you mean we're going to Atlanta? And we don't even have a chance to win our division? Like we're the only team, not Seattle and San Francisco, that can play. So their kind of heads were down. Don't want to take away what Bijan Robinson did. But then even the last game against Arizona, where he was playing everybody, they struggled until the fourth quarter. And in this game, there was lulls. Look, we're poking holes in a team that could win the Super Bowl.
No question.
But I didn't see anything except for the inconsistency. But did we see... Okay, this is 4 weeks of not going straight down the middle of the fairway. Is there a problem or not?
Well, the problem is it continues to show. I'll add one to that. Go back to Philadelphia when they had Philly beat and they blew that game.
Right.
So it's been going on all season long. They have to figure out how do you keep the gas down throughout the game. Offensively, defensively, special teams have been an issue all year. You fire the special teams coordinator, you promote the assistant, you get a punt block today. They got to shore that up. Defensively, their biggest weakness is their secondary. If the front seven doesn't dominate and get to the quarterback, the secondary is very vulnerable. They're going to have to figure out a way to do that. They're not a team without warts, but no team is. But how do you mask your warts? Matthew Stafford, he did a great job of that today, the way he played in the fourth quarter. My only question is this. When they get in a situation where Matthew Stafford can't do it, can someone else on the team step up and help him out? That'll be the question for them.
For Carolina, and by the way, we talked about it last week. I don't want to hear again, 8 and 9, they shouldn't be hosting a playoff game. Garbage. If the Rams aren't good enough to go in there and beat them, they're not winning the Super Bowl. They went in there and beat them, they still could win the Super Bowl. Let's end that discussion. I know the league is talking about changing it. If it's up to me, you leave it alone, because that game was 10.5-point underdog, and they played great. They're ahead of schedule, Carolina. Yeah. They backed into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Twice they toe-to-toe the Rams, one beating them, and the other time today almost beating them. Bryce Young, we've seen him under pressure at crunch time. They call him Ice Young. I'm starting to believe that.
He's taking a step forward. Yes. I think that's the thing you look at with this team. They came into this season wondering what Bryce Young was. I think they leave the season feeling like, okay, he's a starting quarterback. Now, can he be a franchise quarterback for the next 10 years? Schefter comes out and says they're going to pick up the fifth-year option. So he's most likely going to be their quarterback the next 2 years. I think they have building blocks. I love the defense. Derek Brown, the two corners, they can run the football. The offensive line has to get better because when the game was on the line, Bryce Young had no time tonight because the Rams' defensive line, when they turned it up a notch, they had no answer. They got to get an offensive line to protect him. He's a smaller quarterback. He's got to be protected. You need a wall up front to protect him, and right now Carolina doesn't have that.
Well, but they can hold their heads on high.
No question.
They're on the map. Game ball.
No doubt. And for me, boom, it's got to be Caleb Williams. Like, anytime that you're down and you lead your team back to what he did, it was absolutely outstanding. Think about this, boom. Caleb Williams, the numbers he put up tonight, unreal numbers from start to finish. Caleb Williams, 24-48, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns. But it was the athleticism, the play after play down crunch time in crucial moments, 361 yards, the Bears playoff record. He was absolutely outstanding.
Well, my game ball is going to go to Puka Nacua, who, of course, had the most catches of anybody, but he had 10 for 111, but he had 2 touchdowns. One, that goes as a run. 1 caught, 1 running. But when it came time to be a defensive back, this will go down as big a play as the Rams had to win the game. Of course, we're back tomorrow night. I mean, I can't wait to see 3 games tomorrow. If they're going to be like this, where do we begin? Where do we end? I don't want to end. We got, of course, the Niners and the 49ers, the Niners and the Eagles are the middle game. The Patriots, the Chargers are the late game. First game of the Bills at the Jaguars. So following the late game.